Hey y'all, it's your girl Sia, and I'm back with another video. Y'all, so really quick, I did want to follow up because I know that I've been slacking on these videos. The honest to God truth, you guys, I'm just trying to get acclimated with my life, and I feel like I'm not busy, but I kind of am. Okay, so I have not had time. I say I don't have time. I have not made time to do videos consistently like I used to. But I am striving to get back there. And I even got like my own little corner set up in my house and stuff like that. So at some point I will be doing these videos. The goal is hopefully more consistently. And I'm actually thinking, because my life kind of has changed, like completely. I almost want to do more of like a lifestyle blog too. So I do want to see how. I'm gonna think about some things, y'all, and we'll get to it at some point. I don't know when, because I've been saying this for years, right? Anywho, I want to say that I still have no job, and I wanted to check in with you guys because I am still jobless. I am still unemployed, okay? But the reality of it is, I'm actually happy. I have decided that I don't think I'm going back into the workforce. The reality of the circumstances, Black women have a very similar experience in the workplace across the board. And I don't think that I'm starting to realize the Black woman's experience at work is very unique. In the sense that I don't think a lot of Black men even understand what Black women face, because I think to some degree, Black men, at least what I'm seeing in my experience, right, is that some Black men, not all, right, because I know plenty, I mean, um, are very much naive to the fact that Black women have it, I think, a little bit harder than some Black men in terms of racism, in terms of how we're treated and stuff like that. Um, the Black man's dynamic is completely different to a degree from the Black woman, right? I see the Black man as a lot of people, and I would say it's kind of similar for the Black woman, but I think that white women open up the door, not a lot, but just a little bit for Black men. Like I notice, like when I go out with my boyfriend, for example, and we're going to dinner or whatever, usually in certain spaces, the woman will only talk to him. They won't acknowledge me. I'm the one paying for the food, maybe, possibly, but they're not acknowledging me. They're only acknowledging him, right? So there's certain dynamics, and I think my boyfriend had finally like come to that conclusion that yeah, we're treated my relationship with a white woman looks a little different than his relationship with a white woman. I think that because there is a difference, not saying that racism doesn't exist in both, experiences. I just think sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to for the Black man to understand that Black women are really going through some real shit, right? When it comes to racism, when it comes to kind of finding our place and where we fit, the corporate reality, like I am so glad, and I've kind of had to put a little pressure on my boyfriend, but I'm so glad he understands. I'm not doing corporate anymore, y'all. I cannot do corporate. I will not, and I absolutely refuse at this point in my life to make another company rich, okay, that does not value me at all, right? I spent a lot of time, and this is kind of why I decided to kind of go the route that I want to go. Is because I guess my biggest fear initially was that I wasn't okay. So I got fired, right? That's scary because now this is my income. This is how I take care of my kid, right? And now I'm being put in a situation where some of that income may not be there, right? But the beauty of it is I've always had my own business. I've had my business throughout the last 5 years, and my business has grown. It has not grown to the capacity that it could, primarily because all that time I'm spending at a job, it's taking away from my business, right? So now that I'm actually not working and I still have a business, like my business brings in money, I file taxes on my business, right? So because I still have that, I have to keep it going. I can't just be like, nope, clients, I'm done because I was fired. Um, and so I say this because, and I'll tell you guys why here in just a second. Because my business is growing, I think my fear when I got fired was I got to pay my mortgage, I got to pay my HOA. Well, somehow, by the grace of God, I managed to come up with my HOA or had it or whatever. But it felt good because I had it. Not only did I have it, but I got paid right after I made the payment. So I was like, man, I could really make this work because of the increase in clients. I think I'm at about 10 clients right now. I should be bringing in way more money than I am at 10 clients. But again, I recognize that I'm not fully where I want to be in this industry yet. And so I try not to overcharge my clients for my services, right? But obviously at some point I'll get there. Um, but being that I have these clients and being that my workload has increased, like I'm telling you guys, I have so much work coming in, it's ridiculous. I decided I will do whatever it takes to no longer have to go to anybody's place of business, right? I am not helping make these people rich. They people can help them make them rich, right? I'm not doing it. Okay. I don't feel appreciated in these spaces. I'm not gonna work for these people no more. It just is what it is. Um, right now, I think part of the reason why I'm so excited about this opportunity is because one, obviously the money's coming in, which is great. Two, I'm realizing how much more relaxed I am. I don't have to stress about getting to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. I don't have to stress about the fact that I'm stuck at work all day and can't just go do what I need to do. I have my time back, you guys. That is probably the biggest blessing that I've had, and it helps my mental health. I, like I'm cool. I be chilling, right? My bills are paid, right? So that feeling is amazing. It takes a while to get there, but I'm starting to get back into that and understanding that this is it's a softer life. Um, Two, my focus this year is going to be my education, right? I'm really getting those certifications because now I have the time. I have not had the time for the last 2-3 years, right? So now I actually have the time to invest in my education further so that what it does is it puts me in a position where I'm just completely unstoppable. And that is the goal. Um, and then two, you guys, my daughter, so she's flip-flopping about where she want to live, but now that I bought my house, I think my daughter is pretty certain she wants to live with me full time. Her dad he's old, in and out the hospital, right? It really I don't know, whatever. I guess everything has to happen for a reason. Because there's been big conversation about, taking this to the courts and getting the courts to reverse their actions based upon the agreements that he and I have, to where my daughter will live with me and I have primary custody, right? Which is very important, if she is going to live with me. So, um, there's a lot of changes, like I said, that have been happening. And I think that just given the circumstances, a few years ago, or no, when did my daughter come stay? A few months ago, she tried to come stay with me. And I think that it's very important that I be there for her, that I don't have obligations such as a job. I don't have to stress about, okay, well, if I got to pick my daughter up from school, am I going to lose my job? Like, I just don't want those kinds of stressors. I do not want to have to worry about fitting in with people that I don't really care to fit in with. Like, and maybe that sounds selfish. Like, maybe it sounds rude, and I don't know how people perceive it. But I've never been one, especially being Black. Like, I'm not one to really, I don't want to have to talk much at work because I feel like I'll talk and engage in dialogue. But I feel like I am there. The reason why people see, and I'm learning it's not the case, but I've decided I'm just not going to participate in this foolery. Okay. When I hire somebody to do work for me, I'm hiring them to do a job. Does it benefit me if I like the person? Of course. But I feel as though business is business and personal is personal. Simple and plain. When I go to work for an establishment, I am not there to make friends. It just is what it is. Because the friendships, right, just as you can see, when you're not making friends, it's the same shit. It becomes sticky, especially when you're dealing with racial dynamics and women or men. And so for me personally, I don't have the patience to tolerate a lot of the shit that I've been tolerating on the job. And I've actually handled myself very well considering like what I could do or how I could be, considering the fact that I feel like, certain things just are done to kind of knock you down off your square. I don't feel like, and this is something I had to recognize too. When you're genuinely, I think Black women are simply fighting to be themselves in certain spaces, right? I shouldn't have to worry about your perceived bias of who you think I am. Like that's irrelevant. I shouldn't have to worry about you perceiving my tone to be a certain way if it's not that way. Like there's certain things that I just shouldn't have to fucking worry about. And I feel like in some of these spaces, these people are very sensitive and they say I'm sensitive. I'm learning I am sensitive. Okay. These people are sensitive too. And it's almost like if I perceive you this way, that's who you are. And it's crazy to me because you work with intelligent people. You know that they know better, whether it's on my end or their end, right? But the reality of it is, I feel like Black women deal with certain things that not every race has to deal with on the job. We just don't. I've seen white women have attitudes. I've seen white people who are overly bubbly at work. And I've seen white people who are grumpy as fuck at work. I've seen all of them keep their jobs. Black woman, they say you have to work 10 times more harder. I stopped doing that, y'all. I felt like if y'all gonna fire me anyway in the next year or two, I ain't gonna be putting in. If you ain't gonna show me, like, I feel like if you're not going to show me that you're invested in me, my education, my growth, and I mean actually show me, not tell me, because we're told a lot of things, but we're not shown a whole lot. Okay. I do not feel that I am obligated to engage in a culture that is not in alignment with who I am. Does that mean like just because I come to work, right, and I want to be quiet, that don't mean I'm not friendly? That don't mean I got an attitude? That don't mean shit. But because I'm Black, it's perceived as, oh, she's not friendly. Oh, she's this. Oh, she's that. And people make decisions based upon their opinions of who they think you are, not actually who you are. So something I've learned, okay, and something I've had to remind myself actually today, it was very interesting because I'm like, people will literally do whatever they can to try to knock you off your square. They may or may not have a conversation with you about it. A lot of people are very passive in how they do things. So they may have never had a conversation. You may not ever know this person doesn't like you or whatever the case may be. Like, you know what I mean? But people are so afraid to have conversations. Like, I'm the kind of girl, if I care about somebody and I see you quiet, I'm gonna ask you, what's up? What's going on? What's wrong? Are you okay? Is everything fine? I'm not necessarily, or I may just let you be quiet. We could be quiet together. You see what I'm saying? I don't perceive certain things as like the end all be all. And because I know who I am, like I feel like I'm learning that every day, and I'm pretty confident that I got my issues, but I'm pretty okay. What I've learned is people will try to knock you down and they'll make all these excuses about why they're doing what they're doing. Maybe it's subconscious, maybe it's not. Maybe they don't know that's what they're doing. Maybe that's not the intent of what they're trying to do. But what I've learned is when you stay true to you, God always elevates you. Always, 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 always. So remember this, if nothing else, when you're in situations where you feel like people are trying to kick you down and knock you off your square, and you know that your intent is solid, that you are doing the best that you can, and you are showing up every day the best version of yourself possible, God is going to find a way to elevate you above all that. That's what a lot of people don't understand. So right now, I feel like my life is elevating beyond where I was. I feel like I'm leveling up. So that's where I'm at, y'all. I don't want no job. I'm one of those black women that are leaving the workforce and going on my own. So with that being said, I wish y'all the best. I'm out. Peace.